Family business. I gotta say, you seem very comfortable around dogs.
Well, I worked with him when I was in the military, so.
It shows.
He walked away at the height of his success. No warning, no press tour, no farewell episode. One day, John Reardon was Charlie Hudson, the face of Hudson and Rex. The next, he was gone. Fans were left shocked, the industry whispered, and questions filled the silence. Why would he leave when everything was going so perfectly? It was supposed to be just another season of Hudson and Rex, the Canadian crime drama that had quietly become a global hit. John Reardon's portrayal of Detective Charlie Hudson wasn't just acting, it felt real. Viewers saw him as the calm, sharp detective who shared a deep bond with his loyal canine partner, Rex. The chemistry between them made the show more than just another TV crime story. It became a comfort show for millions. But then, without any hint or clue, Reardon's name disappeared from the cast list. Fans noticed it first. "Where's John?" Flooded comment sections and online forums. His social media went quiet. No new interviews, no red carpet appearances, only silence. Then came the official word John Reardon had left Hudson and Rex. No reason was given. The statement from the production team was short, almost too professional, thanking him for his work, wishing him well. But it left out the one thing everyone wanted to know: why. Some said he was tired. Others guessed it was creative differences. A few thought maybe he wanted to spend more time with his family. But underneath all the rumors was a single truth: leaving a show at your peak takes courage. Reardon had built his reputation on that role. To walk away from something that defined him meant there was something bigger waiting, or something heavier weighing him down, behind the scenes. Insiders whispered about long shooting schedules and the pressure of carrying a major series. The spotlight can be warm at first, but over time, it starts to burn. Reardon, known for his quiet, private nature, may have felt trapped by fame's constant demand. Yet even as the news spread, he stayed silent. No interviews. No clarifications. Just absence, the kind that speaks louder than any words could, and so the mystery began. What could make a man step away from success, from the role that made him beloved around the world? That's the question fans still ask today. And it's the question that will finally lead us to his urgent update, one that might change how we see John Reardon forever. The silence that followed. John Reardon's departure was almost haunting. Weeks passed, and not a single word came from him. No interviews, no cryptic posts, nothing. For a man who had been on screen every week, his sudden disappearance felt like a scene cut too soon. Fans began to fill that silence with their own stories, trying to make sense of what had happened. Online forums turned into detective boards. Some claimed John had taken a step back to focus on his family. Others swore he was preparing for a secret Hollywood deal. A few believed he'd grown tired of the same routine, chasing criminals on screen while losing touch with his creative spark off camera. The theories grew louder with each passing day, but the truth remained locked behind his quiet absence. The media joined in, turning the mystery into headlines. "Reardon walks away from success," one article read. Another asked, "burnout or breakthrough?" Each piece only deepened the sense of confusion. Co-stars avoided the topic in interviews, hinting only that John was taking time for himself. That one phrase, time for himself, became fuel for endless debate. Did it mean rest, or was it a hint of something new? Meanwhile, fans didn't just miss an actor, they missed a presence. For many, John wasn't just a performer. He was the heart of Hudson and Rex, his quiet strength, the way he looked at Rex with real affection, the moral center he gave to every case. It all vanished when he left. Viewers began rewatching old episodes, searching for clues, wondering if his final scenes had hidden meaning. In the middle of all this noise, Reardon stayed invisible. No one spotted him at events. His last social media post gathered thousands of comments, fans begging for answers but receiving none. It was as if he'd stepped into the shadows on purpose, letting the world wonder. And then, the silence began to shift. Subtle changes started appearing, a new account rumored to be his, a small production company registration under his name, whispers from insiders that John was working on something different. It wasn't an end. It was the quiet before a storm, the moment before his urgent update would turn that silence into a shockwave. Then, out of nowhere, the silence broke. One evening, without any build-up or press leaks, a simple post appeared on John Reardon's official page, a short video, barely 30 seconds long. No fancy captions, no hashtags. Just a quiet shot of him standing in a dimly lit studio, wearing a black jacket, his expression calm but intense. "It's time," he said softly. "I've been working on something new, something that means more to me than anything I've done before." And just like that, the mystery exploded. Fans rushed to replay the clip. What did it mean? Was he returning to television? Launching a film? Within hours, every entertainment page was buzzing. But this time, it wasn't about what he left behind. It was about what he was creating. A few days later, the full announcement dropped. John Reardon was producing and starring in an independent drama titled The Boundary Line. It wasn't a police show. Not even close. It was a raw, emotional story about loss, redemption, and identity themes that felt deeply personal. Insiders revealed that John had been developing this project in silence for over a year. While the world wondered why he'd stepped away, he was quietly writing, producing, and shaping his vision. He wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing truth. In The Boundary Line, he would play a man confronting his past, blurring the line between right and wrong. It was darker, deeper, and more intimate than anything he'd done before. His urgent update wasn't just about a new project. It was a statement. It was John reclaiming his voice. After years of scripts written by others, he was finally telling a story that came from his own soul. Fans noticed the change instantly. His words carried weight, like someone who had gone through something real, something transformative. The internet went wild again, but this time with excitement instead of confusion. "He's back," one fan wrote, but this time on his own terms. For John Reardon, the silence had been his preparation. The sudden update wasn't random. It was the reveal of a man who had evolved, who had turned mystery into meaning. And as the teaser for The Boundary Line spread across social media, one thing became clear: John Reardon hadn't disappeared. He had been reinventing himself. When the world finally saw the first trailer for The Boundary Line, it didn't feel like just another project. It felt like a message. John Reardon stood not as a TV detective this time, but as a storyteller reclaiming his place in an industry that often forgets the human behind the fame. The tone was somber, haunting, and real. It wasn't glossy Hollywood drama. It was raw truth wrapped in shadows and emotion. Fans who once missed Detective Hudson now saw something else. An artist unafraid to start again. The reactions were overwhelming. Messages poured in from across the world, not just from fans of Hudson and Rex, but from people who understood what it means to walk away from comfort in search of purpose. "He's showing us what freedom looks like," one comment read. Another said, "He didn't quit. He transformed." The internet buzzed with admiration, surprise, and even a little awe. It was as if everyone suddenly realized that his silence had been part of a bigger story, one of courage, risk, and self-discovery. Industry insiders began praising his move. Directors called it bold. Critics described it as a creative rebirth. Even his former co-stars sent quiet words of support, some hinting they weren't surprised at all, that John had always been the kind who listened more than he spoke, the kind who chose meaning over money. Behind the curtain of celebrity, it was clear that Reardon wasn't chasing fame anymore. He was chasing truth, the kind that art rarely dares to touch. And now, as his new chapter unfolds, the legacy of John Reardon feels larger than ever. Hudson and Rex made him beloved. The Boundary Line made him timeless. He showed that leaving something successful doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it's the only way to grow. The quiet detective who once solved crimes on TV has now solved something deeper. The mystery of his own voice. The final scene of his trailer fades with a single line on screen. Every ending is just another beginning. Maybe that's what John Reardon has been trying to tell us all along. That silence isn't the end of a story. It's a space where new stories are born. And somewhere out there, as the lights dim and the cameras roll again, John Reardon is already writing his next one.